Hi there, my name's Ramón Perez,
Hello, I'm Eric Vedder.
and welcome to Make Shit Mondays. We're back
Yes.
again on a Monday night, trying to get a handle on our own shit, right?
Slow and steady, man. Slow and steady. This is going well, though. I love how
Yeah,
we spend like an hour getting ready.
it's just bizarre.
And like we just got it under the like you just sat down.
It's a little
Uh,
bit ridiculous. We'll nail this down to a fine-tuned art form. I think probably within a year. I'm giving us a year at least.
well, yeah. Rob is saying you need to share your screen.
I need to share my screen. I will be sharing my screen. I was just busy running around, but that'll be up right next. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Oh, we got Mama
Um,
Deadhead already.
so
Hello.
how you doing? You had a creative weekend away. Speaking of making shit,
I
you
did,
and your
yes.
co-writer Sheldon.
Sheldon and Carter and I, we are planning to do quarterly. Now, COVID interrupted this, but this is our second Arden retreat. And
Nice.
basically, we go for 2 nights. We Airbnb somewhere, and we just talk story, creative writing, like just anything to get this Arden on the go. And we had a really successful one today. We were in Simcoe for 2 nights. Shout out to Simcoe. It was a
Oh
small
shit!
town,
Nice.
but it was a great,
Shout out
great
to Simcoe.
it was a great little place, and we found a cool bar nearby, but the whole thing was about being creative and getting our stuff sorted out and figured out. We had a really big successful weekend. We got some big plans. Probably
Nice.
next week or in the next couple of weeks, we're going to kind of announce something, but
Oh shit!
we're looking at
I don't even
August
know about this.
for this announcement. Well, you kind of do, but we figured out a little bit of what we want to do with art and how we want to start releasing it. So,
Nice.
oh, we got a
No, I
little
like
fist
that.
pump there from Calman. And hello to Mama Deadhead. And I'm
I
not
look forward
muted. Yeah, good one.
Yeah. I still got to share my screen. But anyways, let's instead of rambling on, shall we get this show rolling, so to speak?
What are you drinking tonight? I've got myself.
I'm actually doing the same thing as last week. I'm actually going to grab a little Crown Royal, a little
I've got
sponsored Canadian element here.
I got a Fortress rum.
And I'm going to mix it with some classic sparkling grapefruit.
Oh,
Very summary.
this is a Fortress of Louisbourg National Historic Site, Cape Breton, Nova
Ooh.
Scotia rum.
Nice, nice.
Mr. Steve Sinclair got this for me. Nice guy, sometimes.
Yeah.
So no, he's awesome. Yeah. See how she tastes.
Very nice. Oh shit! I just jumped in there. Oh, my apologies,
Just
Rob.
like I don't care about your rum story, Eric. Look at all my artwork.
Just pull that out.
Well, cheers, buddy.
Yes. Well, let me pour. I was just
Oh.
trying to pull up some artwork here, and I kind of clusterfuck the whole situation.
We need to start 2 hours ahead.
Oh, 2 hours ahead of time. Anyways, cheers, buddy.
Cheers, man. To number 3 and
Number 3. Third
cheers
one's a
to our
charm.
special guest, and maybe you want to announce who this is.
I would love to actually. This week, as we promoted, is our good friend Karl Kerschl.
Yeah.
Carl's been a friend for quite a long time. Super talented guy, and he's currently running a Kickstarter for his Abominable Charles Christopher book 3, and he's killing it. Like that, it's a gorgeous comic, and I'm glad to see that Volume 3 is finally coming out.
Yeah,
And,
I already I supported it. That's for sure.
Oh,
As soon
yeah.
as it could.
Yeah,
I think
and
everyone did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and he's
that
got.
is-
So if you haven't supported yet, or if you're unfamiliar, we will have a link at the end of this episode directly to the Kickstarter, and it's also in the notes below if you want to go through that and find it as well. But yeah, Carl's been killing it with this comic for 10 years, and it's great to see book 3 finally coming out. And he's also got some other really cool stuff coming up. So without further ado, maybe we should get him in here.
Totally.
Hey, there he is, handsome devil.
Hey guys,
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
how you doing?
Hey,
I'm okay. It's nice to see your handsome faces again. Everyone's got more hair on their faces.
I know. Why look respectable when you don't have to go out in public? You know.
This is respectable. Better usually, you should be on the back of a bike, man.
I'm actually surprised that Eric has never ventured onto a motorcycle.
Well, my wife said that she'll let me get a motorcycle when she doesn't care about me anymore. So I was like, oh, okay. Like that's I guess a fair deal. I still would love to get like a big fat Harley. But
tell her she would you get like a sidecar. She could like ride in comfort with you maybe.
I know.
Or,
Yeah.
No.
Hi, Mama Deadhead. So I'm just answering. I'm responding to people.
Oh yeah,
on This is my first time. First time hanging with you guys, so I don't know what's the drill. You have like people commenting live and you just chat?
So we're streaming live to YouTube and to Facebook, and people can ask questions along the way, comment, interact, whatever it might be. So we're still learning the ropes as best as we can. but yeah, that's the whole premise anyways. So people can interact.
And we're using it as an excuse to like force ourselves to draw every week on our own.
That's what I did with my Twitch channel. Really, like it was a way to just chat with people, kind of have a virtual studio. But really, the nice thing was I couldn't get up. Like I just had to sit there and work. Because if you get up, you're just leaving a bunch of people in the lurch, and so it was a good way to kind of force discipline.
Oh yeah, like that. I mean, this is actually one of the reasons Eric actually wanted to create Make Shit Mondays, because it's just like a way to get our ass in the seat, especially after a long day of working on contracts or other responsibilities. It's at least we know for the 2 hours on Monday night we'll be drawing something for ourselves and just moving forward on whatever it might be. Like Twitch or Zoom or whatever. So we figured we'd do this live so it keeps us more accountable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I get it.
And hopefully the more people yell at us, the better, right? So
yeah, totally. No, this has been interesting already. Now our third episode, and this is the first episode I didn't dial 911 on my phone to start, which is great.
What episode is this? 3?
About that progress.
This is your third one now?
Yeah. Your third one's a charm, Karl.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and we have a few more planned, but we're like figuring it out as we go. It's no matter the hour we give ourselves ahead of time, it still is not enough to get ready before.
I was I know you got Rob gave me a heads up to show up 15 minutes early, but I was like saying goodnight to kids and stuff remotely, and I was like, it's just Ramón and Eric. I mean, I just show up.
I figure you can just dive in. We can talk for a while. You can just dive in. It's cool, man. It's so cool.
Did I overhear you saying you're working on Arden stuff?
Yeah, always still working on. Oh, am I losing my? What's happening here?
I think we're freezing a little bit. I'm not sure why.
But
he is. It's
this guy right here.
I see you guys are all super branded. I didn't know what because Arden goes back to the Transmission X. Like we're talking 2006, 7, 6 or 7.
7,
2007, 2008, somewhere around there. I met all you guys. Well, I knew you, Karl, from St. Catherine's days, boys.
I know. You guys were at Sheridan. And then doing IRD1. I watched all you guys basically flunk out of Sheridan College for animation.
Oh, so I didn't know that. You guys knew each other before?
Here's the thing is, I didn't flunk. I chose to leave. I passed and got the third year. But I was already working in the animation industry. I was in charge. I was the lead level layout designer at the studio, and I was in charge of the year ahead, the third years I graduated. And they were awful.
So Ramón, we met because I grew up in Welland, and these guys are from St. Catharines, and I met through a mutual friend named Matt Lyon. He was going to Sheridan, and I met all these guys. I think I went to visit where the house you were all living in, and I met all you guys while you were going there. And basically everyone I knew, like that program was amazing at the time.
Yeah,
and people were just getting headhunted by Disney and stuff like out of the second year, and so basically everyone I knew there, I said flunk out as a joke, but really like people were just getting plucked out of there before they could even finish the program.
Well,
and it was a brutal program, that's
the thing, right? Like now it's a 4-year it's a degree, and you can't fail. And there's something I think that got lost there by doing that, like because the pressure of being like pro as a student was there all the time, and you were kind of like like you had to earn it. You had to earn your seat, and then you had to earn it to get to the next year.
Yeah, I remember our first year, we started off, I think, with about 300 students in my program. And by the last year, I think we're down to like 40 or 60. I can't remember the exact graduating number, but it's like every year, just like with a culling of the herd. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and so like it just forced you to get better, and you could fuck around and not do the work, or you can dig in and do it, and then set yourself up for success. Because you're right, Carl. They'd have like all these studios would start coming in for the third years, but they would still stick around and walk through the second year studio, so you could hang up all your artwork. It's kind of like this like portfolio on your wall or by your desk. So it was really exciting when they'd come through, and you'd all be whispering and hanging out in the corner like, oh, I think that's Disney, or I think that's so and so, and you know, and they'll take your name down and talk to you if they like your work, right? But so that's kind of what happened for me and Joe Vreens. He got approached by a company in second year to work in St. Catharines, and Joe's like, you guys should go up there, they're hiring everybody. So I'm like, all right, I'll go up there. And so they were like, yeah, cool, come talk to us. So I did, and that's why I didn't go back to third year, because I got a job from that with that company. So it's pretty crazy. But
wait, where was that in St. Catharines? That was an animation place?
Whack Whack Animation.
Oh, I barely remember that. The only St. Catharines place I remember was Silicon Knights.
Oh yeah, so that's
game
where
company.
I went. That's where I started my concept art job back in 2005. Woo! But
way back.
Were you here for that? No, where were they located? Silicon Knights
in St. Catharines.
Downtown St. Catharines.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, there's the only it was like the only game company in the city, as far as I know.
Okay.
Yeah. It was. Sheridan was great. It definitely. I'm still in touch with most of the people I went to school with there, and you met all these other creatives who were just trying to make it out there, and they've all kind of branched into different things. But we have this great kind of network of friends because it was brutal, like with the fact that they would cut off the students. Like if you didn't do well, you failed. Like, so a lot of these guys would just be gone the next year or so. But it also kind of brought people together too. But
anyways,
Andy Bell Danger, what does he say?
Yeah,
surprise you were.
That reminds me of like the
Andy, when are you going to do the show with us, you bum? Stop having successful Kickstarters already.
Yeah, Andy also launched his Kickstarter today for Mother Trucker Volume 2.
Hey.
Yeah.
We were all in the studio today, basically like mission control, just launching that. It's so stressful, like pushing launch on that. Like Andy was like, push the button. I was like, I'm not touching that button. Like it's so scary. Like we were trying to just set up like domain forwarding and like and mailing lists and like all sorts of social media promotion. But like
it's crazy.
But despite the fever, like it went pretty smoothly. Like I mean,
you guys funded that like. What, within an hour?
In a few hours, yeah. It was great.
Yeah, no, it's amazing, man.
Yeah, oh, the work is superb. Like, I might be doing something for him, but like you too, Carl. I'm gonna get there.
What are you doing right now?
That's what I'm doing right. That's what I'm doing right now.
I know. I'm watching it happen. I'm excited. What was I gonna say? Shoot, I lost my train of thought. But we were talking about.
Congratulations, Andy, by the way, and you guys. That's amazing, guys.
I saw a question from Mama Deadhead there earlier regarding Pride merch. I haven't seen it yet, but now that you mentioned it, I will check it out. So, no, I didn't see. So I gotta check out what they put out. It's they don't really tell us about these things. They just kind of put it out.
Oh yeah, Scott. Scott was really high up at Whack Whack.
Scott Hepburn. Did Hepburn work at Whack Whack too?
Oh my gosh, it's a whole crew.
The love fest here. Oh, Andy, you know I love you too, buddy. I can't wait till the two wolves can meet. Anyway, yeah. But Carl. Speaking of like when I met you, man, when you come to IRD1, you dropped off this really cool thing. I don't know if Rob wants to switch over to my camera here.
Oh yeah.
What's this? Oh, sweet.
What is that an original photocopy you've been carrying around since?
Old school.
Holy shit. Can I swear on this podcast? I haven't seen this stuff in probably 20 years, 25 years.
There it is.
Yeah.
So this you have this from back then? You just kept this photocopy?
I just kept it, man. You gave it to me because we talked. Look at how beautiful this stuff is, by the way. You're such a
I can't look at this.
So
This is oh my god. So this is probably like 1997 or 1998.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was design work for a project that Brendan Fletcher and I were working on called Miki. And actually I didn't have this stuff to put up, but we had, I don't know if you remember, Eric, we had like a whole bound book, like a spiral bound book that was like a pitch book for it. And I found that and I photocopied the whole thing.
Wow.
And I put that up on my website so people can, like, there's a whole screenplay basically in there.
Oh, man.
And like a bunch of sample pages and stuff. But this actually predates that. Like I haven't seen this stuff in a long time.
Oh, dude. Like when I saw this, I literally like died inside going, I'm never going to... Just that's it. I was just like, I was so floored by your ability back then. Even I was like, it just broke my heart that I'm like, I'm not going to get anywhere because it just took it. While it inspired me, it just took the wind out of any kind of sails I had up of like, oh, I'm going forward.
But that happens to everyone all the time.
Oh yeah.
Like every time I open social media, it happens.
Oh,
I'm like, good Lord! Like there's like 16-year-old kids drawing circles around me and painting and stuff. I'm like, I'm so old.
With the job I do, because I have to hire sometimes some concept artists for Warframe. The talent pool out there is absurd. Like I can't believe these young kids coming up and what they're capable of. It's so cool. And I reworked the test to kind of make it even more difficult, so I personally could just see more of their art.
Yeah.
But
no kidding.
We just hired 2 new artists, and they're just absolutely amazing. So it's really cool to see how far concept art, because I got into the business at 2005, right? Like the Silicon Knights stuff, and like where it's come since then, all the new programs, the it's a difficult job to get now. I'm just glad I'm in a company, I'm a lead, and they leave me alone. So because otherwise, they're probably like, yeah, you're not going to work again.
Well, when I brought over that stuff that you just showed, like you guys were working on a dodgeball game.
Oh man, we were working on.
What platform was that on? Was that PS1?
PS2.
PS2 It started on PS1 though, didn't it? Like I remember you getting the dev kit, and we all around this dev kit, and we're like, oh my god.
The dev kit was a PS2. We flew down to California, or was California to do San Fran to pitch to Sony. They loved it to a degree, and they sent us the dev kit, and we had Capcom interested, we had Acclaim interested. I don't think Acclaim's around anymore, but like we actually had like the woman who did the voice of one of the Resident Evil characters. Oh, what was her name? Anyway, she actually was in our basement in that same office, like hanging out with us while they went on a meeting with like the big, like Zane and Joe or whatever. They went and talked to those guys with the big wigs, and this lady hung out with us. And then I got a call from home that there was pizza, so I left.
Sure. Of course you would.
Obviously. Why
would you stay?
So what? Like I never actually knew what happened there. Like what? Like you had interest from? Can you talk about this? I guess it's been like 25 years, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I think worked on this. It was a dodgeball. It was like it was an awesome. Like the environment was amazing. I mean, I saw the models for it. I saw some demos of it. It was like an awesome dodgeball game. Saying it was a dodgeball game really undersells it because it had so much character.
Yeah, I think it was a shout out to the original dodgeball. I believe it was on Nintendo or whatever, and we just pushed it. Actually, I put Arden in there too. I had a little Arden team. There's Celeste and some dragons and some stuff, and like Matt Lyon, we were talking about earlier. He was modeling the characters, and like we were getting the environments built and stuff, and it was like we had a playable demo and everything. Like when these companies came, they're like, "Oh, you have a game doc? Wow, most companies that start up don't." Like they were floored by what we had there. So, but yeah, it something happened at that time where like they gave money to like these garage startup companies, and this particular thing kind of blew up in the news, and it totally backfired. The people that invested, they lost all their money. So now all these companies started to pull back and go, "Oh, we got to see more before we give you money." But we were this close to getting signed by something and giving us money to forward the work on that game.
So you were looking for outside investment. That's the part that didn't work out.
Because we had a playable demo, and it's like, we need someone to publish it. We need someone to give us money to finish this, and then we would hire a team, get a studio, like we go. So it was really cool that we got all that crazy experience before I even got into into gaming and comics. It was like, this was right in the middle of like Sheridan, or just before Sheridan. It was crazy how close we were, and yeah, it's nuts to think about. But it was neat that we definitely had a demo. We tried to start it up again a few times.
Yeah. Did you?
Yeah, and it just like, again, Zane gave me a call one time, and he's like, I got an investor, and I was like living in Toronto at the time, and he's like, let's meet. We're going to talk and get the guys back, and let's start up. And we were all like, yeah. And then this investor fell through. It was all talk.
God. Man, it's so heartbreaking.
We did that IRD2,
it was pretty far along.
But yeah.
I mean, now, like, if you were to do that kind of thing now, like, never mind Kickstarter or anything, but like, you could get a publisher interested who would probably front you some money for an exclusive, platform exclusive release or whatever, right? Like, maybe. It seems like more manageable now. Like, you don't have to necessarily go and hunt out.
Well, that's what's changed, right? There was no internet back then, like on the level we have now, right? Like where, you can rally social media to maybe help fund it or get it out to spread it. Because how do you get information out there? Like Electronic Gaming Monthly or something, right? Like, newsletters. I don't know. It was like, I can't even imagine what it was like before the internet. How we did anything, man. So.
Yeah. Was that Joe's basement that office was in?
Joe's mom's basement. Yeah, it was. We converted that, painted it.
It was nice though. Like, it was a cool office. I remember hanging out there.
Yeah, we had it all set, man. And like, there was definitely times where I was like, we're doing it, and we had shirts made and everything. So, but yeah, it was heartbreaking because we all just then all went off to school, and it just kind of died, unfortunately. So.
Yeah, I think with the rare exception, I think that's just an age thing. Like, I feel like we all did that. Kind of had grandiose plans, got to 60-75% of it, and then shit just fell through because like you're at this point where you have something to prove, and you start taking, at least speaking personally, like you start taking like legitimate, quote unquote legitimate work from other publishers, which distracts you from the thing that you were doing for maybe years. And then, before you know it, you're like 35, and you're like, "Why didn't I finish that thing?" But,
yeah, because most of the time you're starting this stuff because you're living at home. You don't really have a lot of obligations and financial
overhead or anything like that.
Yeah, like maybe you have a girlfriend. You're probably not married. Like it's like so but yeah, exactly. You turn around and you're 35, and you're like, "Wow, I got kids and I got a house. What the shit? Where's my dreams?" But I mean, like, this is what's interesting now is I find it quite fascinating that like right now all of us are kind of hitting this level now. Like Kickstarters are happening. We're all like, this year's been bananas after COVID. Like now everyone's like, okay, enough of this shit. Let's get to business.
Also, I think that's also a product of age too. Like
100%.
I know for me it's like, okay, I've done a lot of stuff I set out to do with licensed characters and mainstream things, and now I'm like, well, I just turned 47, so like I'm like, I can see like I've got a finite amount of time to actually cram in this stuff that like I don't want to be on my deathbed regretting thinking like, why didn't I work on that stuff I was going to work on? So and I'm just like hyper focused on doing my own stuff
100%.
Yeah, that's you definitely get to see that light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak, where you're just like, I got 10 years maybe.
Yeah.
And after that, it's
how many good years of drawing have I got left? I just gotta like, and how many of these ideas are actually gonna see fruition? At the pace that I'm working. Like I really have to just double down on it.
And that's the other thing too. Like art, like it's just so labor intensive. So to actually produce anything of length takes so much time as well, right? Like it's not like you can just like sit down, write out the script and go, okay, we're done,
Yeah.
It's like days on a page or whatever it might be, and you're like, okay.
It's like I get I watch Lemire go, and I'm like, God damn it! Like, how is he doing? Like,
that guy's a machine.
He's just got so many things going on. Yeah, and like he's drawing half of them. I'm like, Jesus.
I remember when I worked with him on Hawkeye.
At least I can manage if I can manage 10% of that, I'd be pretty happy. Yeah.
I remember he told me when we were working on Hawkeye together, because he was doing that, but I think he was also doing the Gord Downey graphic novel. I can't remember the title of it, the one along with the Tragically Hip. Mm-hmm. And he told me he would only work on the Marvel stuff on weekends. So that meant like in the 2 days, or I'm not sure if he counted Friday in that, but from like Saturday, Sunday is where he would write his Marvel scripts. And he was doing a few books at that time. So I was like astounded that he's like writing these things only on the weekend. And during the week, he would focus on the Gord Downey project.
Yeah.
So it was just like crazy, just like, time management and, making sure you just get that stuff done. But that's what it comes down to, I guess, at the end of the day. Just, making sure the time you spend is spent wisely.
Yeah, you just have to make the time, I guess, and be disciplined about it. Yeah. Well, I guess when you're running a Kickstarter makes that very it's very difficult not to. Like you're just it's this full-time job, and now you are you've got a bunch of literally invested people waiting for you to work on this thing. So, I mean, in my case, it's nice because the work itself is basically done.
Yeah.
But still, like I'm just thinking about that thing constantly, thinking about that audience constantly.
Yeah.
And how to best serve them and how to move forward with this, because that's like, I mean, that's your boss now.
Mm-hmm. But it's the best boss in a way, I think.
It totally is.
You know what I mean?
I got nice props today. I got the book I bought from you from TCAF here.
Wow, look at you! You're just so prepared
right on
today.
So that's 2010. I published. I self-published that.
I remember that.
I asked you to draw our cats, which you did.
Oh yeah.
We have one extra one because 4 cats is a great idea. No, it's not.
I owe you another kitten in there.
Yeah, man, this is a beautiful book. So
that is beautiful.
Yeah.
So I'm pricing. I'm getting quotes from printers for hardcovers also.
Oh, nice.
Just to see what's possible. And it's like, I don't know. I mean, you just finished a Kickstarter for Dax's Forest Folk book.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like printing, like paper prices have gone through the roof.
Yeah.
Like everything is crazy. Like schedules. I just got off the phone with my printing rep today, and like they're booked, like for whatever reason, like they're booked solid for the next few months.
Yeah.
Like, he says he's never seen anything like it in 27 years. Just the sheer number of jobs they've got to print.
No, like when we were running Dax's Kickstarter, the day we hit our goal, I called the printer and locked in our slot, and it was like 3 months down the line, just to get the books in time for when we want to fulfill the Kickstarter. It's just bananas. I don't know what it is. If people are just reading more, or everything just got backed up, or what. But
I don't know. But it's it's cool. But like, good for them. Because like
for sure.
Everything was shut down, and like I remember like March, like right before the lockdown happened. Because we were releasing Isola Volume 2, and it was finished. We had to send in our files. Like it was like the week before the COVID lockdowns happened in Canada, and then like the printers shut down, the publisher shut. Oh wow, like you got a file right there. So that book came out. That trade came out. It came out delayed, even though all our stuff was in on time. And then like when it came out, like nobody knew anything about it. Like the stores were all shut down.
Well, that's a
it
shame.
kind of just came and went. So I guess it's sitting in stores now.
You know what's funny, Carl? Now you're talking about that, I completely forgot about Isola. Like because I think like I'm not being a jerk. I'm just like, oh my god, Isola, that's right. You did that project, and it's amazing looking.
Yeah,
man. That's bananas.
Yeah, I'm still working on it. I'm doing the 3rd volume now, among the other stuff. But the Kickstarter has sort of overshadowed everything. So
yeah. I mean, that's a full-time job. Just you're running it pretty much by yourself. I'm guessing with a little bit of help with the guys from Lethal.
Yeah,
if I'm correct. Yeah. So it's crazy. Just the amount of just staying on top of it every day and
it's literally like at least half of my day. It's just like till like 1 or 2 p.m. I'm just crafting emails or promoting stuff or figuring out, or like talking to people about, getting quotes for whatever, like merchandise or, printing stuff. It's a lot. It's a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah, the merch is, especially also like to get like, because you're kind of guesstimating, I think, when you're doing it. So you're hoping that the quotes you get are at least relatively close, because I always find there's hiccups that come in along the way when you go to fulfill, the next thing you know, you're like, oh, this one cost me $200 more here, or the price of paper has gone up now, so we have to like budget in an extra amount for paper, whatever it might be. We're currently fulfilling the Mr. Monster Kickstarter that we never started, but we took it over just to help the book get out. And it's been crazy, just like slight miscommunications too with the printer or whatever, and suddenly our schedule is like delayed by another month or two because someone got the wrong email or whatever it is, and you're just like, you get so frustrated, But I actually started getting quotes from. I tried to keep everything local, but I started actually reaching out to China to get some quotes as well, because things were skyrocketing locally.
Yeah,
unfortunately, which
I thought about it, but did not actually. Like, I haven't actually reached, because the shipping time would be crazy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It totally is. Yeah.
Maybe for a future thing. I don't know.
The thing I like to keep it local, support Canadian and all that stuff, and but I think we might have to go overseas we had to like do a slipcase.
Yeah. And
the slipcase is literally, without exaggeration, it's like 6 times the amount of dollars here than it is there.
Wow. So a slipcase for books, like, does your same printer put that together, same people who are doing the book, or do you have to put it together?
Well, I originally had hoped that, but the printer had miscommunicated the quote, so it went from me thinking the slipcases were like $4 a unit to like almost $20 a unit made locally. And
God!
I was like, I can't. There's like no one's gonna buy this thing if it's, you know what I mean. So we're keeping the book with the printer. But I canceled the slipcase just because it's just cost prohibitive. And we're going to do the slipcase in China at, I think it's like $2,000 for the same thing that here would have cost me almost 16 or 18.
Holy cow.
Yeah. And I'm just like, I hate to do it, but
wow,
it's like,
damn,
just to even be able to sell the book at a decent price, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send, once we have the book here, I will send a copy of the book to the printer there so they can kind of like match the slipcase. It's a slipcase to go over one book? Over one book.
Okay, so you don't have to guesstimate like 3 volumes or whatever.
No. Like we might try to do one for the raid books, like a multi slipcase issue, but yeah, it was something I didn't organize, but it's part of the fulfillment process of this campaign, so I have to kind of obviously stick to it. But yeah, like knowing the price of slipcases, I will never offer them as an option in a Kickstarter unless they're being done overseas or somewhere else, because it's just it's a little bit.
That's so crazy. It's a box.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, there's 2 different kinds of slipcases. There's like the thinner kind. I don't know if you've ever seen them. A lot of trade paper, not trade paper.
Yeah, they're kind of flimsy.
The flimsy ones. Those ones are relatively, I'm not going to say inexpensive to do here, but they're like all die cut and folded. But the other ones, like the hard ones that you'll see on maybe some like really nice collector editions, they're literally all the cardboard's cut and then hand glued.
Oh.
And then, so everything's done by hand. So I guess obviously that adds to the skyrocketing price, But yeah, it's a learning experience, anyways, to say the least. But it's good to know it for future endeavors, basically.
So, Carl, are you drawing anything with us here, buddy, or what?
I can. I have to reshare my screen.
I think we got it. People like seeing the artists we guessed.
What are you drawing there, Eric? Speaking of art,
sweet stick figures, because I'm trying to plan my Raid 4 panel.
Oh, okay, nice.
part of our successful discussions this weekend with the Arden retreat.
Nice.
So lame, but so fun.
Yeah, it's nothing. It's a beautiful thing to be said for. Like I knew a few guys. I don't know if you know, like Sean Weinstein, local Toronto guy, filmmaker, and he would always just disappear for a month or two, sometimes 3, to different places around the world just to write his screenplays undisturbed and like unencumbered by like the responsibility of being in your hometown or whatever it might be, right? So I can kind of see
like a little retreat kind of thing. I know people just
he would just go by himself, and he would just go like he probably does it a little bit less now. He's got a child, and he's married now. But back in the day when I first met him, he would disappear. Like he would say, "I'm going to India for 3 months just to write a screenplay." You know what I mean? He just lock himself in this little Airbnb for 3 months, work on his screenplay, come back, and then begin producing it.
Thanks, Mama Deadhead.
So I can totally see the benefit of just.
Oh no! Rob was making fun of my stick figures. I'm like, well, I'm trying to build something here.
Oh, okay.
That's why we get talented artists.
Draw Charles Christopher. He's.
I'm still grinding through Andy's.
I'm working on a new page of this space comic I'm doing.
Tanager?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Death Transit Tanager comic. I'm doing the second issue of it, which I've written.
Nice.
And now I'm working on a page of it. So
I've got it up. I got to look at. I
really enjoyed the first issue of that, dude.
Thank you. I actually did a whole interview with this guy yesterday for a podcast, and there's a cover, and then like it was like 45 minutes of us just talking, and he was it was super nice, but then it turned out that he didn't record my half of the conversation, so he couldn't use any of it. But I only bring it up because we were talking about this Tanager book, and he said, well, the nicest thing I could have possibly heard, which was that he got to the end of it and was super surprised by the ending. Like the ending worked for him. And I said to him, like, he asked me how much I had thought about, working up to that ending. And I was just telling him that it was just a constant balancing act to not give away too much, but drop a few clues here and there, right down to the title. Like I kind of like, I was tempted not to put a title on it because, once you put a title on it, it's sort of like it's a bit of a, not a giveaway, but like, it's a bit more.
Well, it's interesting. What is Tanager a made-up word or is it actually a word?
Tanager is a type of bird.
Okay.
Oh, very cool.
But I just like the name, so
okay. And I've been meaning to ask this since I got my copy. The paddles, is that like going up the river Styx? Or is it just,
basically.
Yeah.
Like she's like a ferryman.
Okay. That's cool, man. No, yeah, 'cause it's funny because you sent me the first 6 pages to this over a year ago, must be now, and I loved it. But then it was actually interesting to like read the full PDF and like the ending taking me totally by surprise, and like what it became is not what I expected. And even the title didn't give that away. If you're worried about the title, it did not give that away.
I was super worried about it. I was like, how can I not put a title on this? But it seemed to work for people, which is good.
Is that the back cover? That's great.
That's the back cover, yeah. So this is like basically my Clip Studio file for issue 1.
Nice.
And I'm working on issue 2 now, which doesn't look like much.
Is there somewhere, because we want to try and promote people we have, is there a place where people can find this?
Yeah, you can read it all for free at karlkerschl.com.
Yeah.
That was another thing. Like we talked a lot about, like I keep Andy gives me shit for putting stuff up for free, but like I love it. Like I just love, like it just feels so right to me. Like it just, ever since starting webcomics, it's just in my blood. Like I'm like, I just want to put everything up for free.
Yeah.
And then collect it later. Much, and it's been good to me. And I think people appreciate it. It builds goodwill. Like people, people are going to support stuff whether they can get it free or if they like something, they're going to support it.
That's like Sheldon and I, what we got planned in August is yeah, we want to release stuff for free. Like the back end is collecting it and then publishing it, and then if that's even the next level, and if you're actually interested in making money, that could be the way to do it. But I agree with you. I think things for free is great. I think it's like
I always think about this, like I'm paraphrasing, but Neil Gaiman said one time, like like his favorite, everyone's favorite book is probably something that was given to them.
Yeah.
And your favorite book is something you may not have bought, but it's something you've probably given to like 10 different people. Yeah. Like you'll buy it and give it as a gift because you feel
this is my favorite thing that I ever got.
Yeah, and it was free. And look, you haven't spent a dime on me in 25 years.
Like I'm going to get you to sign it one day, and then I'm going to put it up for sale. I'm going to make. I got big plans for you, Meek. Dude, whenever I see this, I get so excited going, oh man, that's so cool. That's just because it was a memory of when, we were struggling with the game company and just even myself trying to be like, what kind of artist do I want to be? And I saw that and I was like, wow, like that, like you were doing stuff that I was hoping to get to one day. So it was really cool to see it and hold it in my hands. So it's a constant inspiration, man.
Oh, I'm glad. I should get you one of the actual books, like it's bound into because that was like a super early comic, like version of the comic, and then I did like, I don't know, like 20 pages of just like they were like storyboard format, but it was a whole scene that we finished, and then we actually talked to Image about it. Like it almost got published by a couple of different publishers.
I feel like I remember seeing something about that.
Yeah, we took it to different conventions. Like I gave it to like Jim Lee had a copy of it. I like begged him to like take it back to Wildstorm and show it around. Like we had Image almost published it, and then
that's really cool.
Yeah, but then like I started taking other work. It just got
It's funny how it overtakes you.
Yeah, I shoved a copy of Raid 1 into Jim Lee's hand, and before he had to go on stage, he was in the back room getting ready to go on stage. I'm like, oh, hi, I'm Eric Vedder. I'm a big fan. Here, take my Arden. It's Arden is my story. Like, I'm just like, he's like, yeah, okay, cool. And in his bag and whatever.
It's like the one time ever I regret like being sort of like a clingy booth barnacle at a convention, because I was like trying to talk to Jim Lee, and I'd had some interactions with him legitimately, because like I don't know if you remember when Wildcats #2 came out, there was a talent call in the back of it. It was like a page saying, hey, Homage Studios is looking for talent, send in your samples and whatever. And that's the talent search that brought in like J. Scott Campbell and all these guys who ended up at Wildstorm. So I sent a sample to them, and actually got a call from it was Sarah Becker at the time, who was at Wildstorm, and they liked it, and they wanted me to do like another like kind of Wildcats related pinup, which I did, and I sent it in, and it kind of got like I was a kid, and I drew it on like, it was drawn on basically like 11x17 printer paper. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I sent it to them like by FedEx, but it was like in an envelope, and so I guess it just got wet and ruined or something. So like, anyway, long story short, that never happened. But like, it was always this kind of what if moment for me. So jump ahead like a few years later, I've got this Mickey book, and Jim remembers me because he remembers everybody's name and where they're from, which is miraculous, but he does. Also, a super nice guy. And I kind of hung around, like I went to his table because he was signing for people, and I said hi, and he remembered me. He said, hey, Carl from Canada, right? I said, yeah. Hi, Jim Lee. And so like I hung around there like a doofus waiting for him to be finished so I could give him this book. It was like the one time I ever really like I still think about it, like, about like
it's haunting you 20 years later.
That's right, Sam. Sarah Becker was on The Real World. She actually has articles about that in like, I think she did like, do you remember like there was like a Gen 13 sketchbook or something like that she put together?
Oh man, and, I probably have it. I was a huge fan of J. Scott Campbell, still am.
That stuff was friggin' dynamite at the time.
Oh man.
We should answer Jay Crawford here, who asks,
got a question here, guys.
Would you recommend a webcomic more than physical for creating a comic for its... Oh, for a con creating a comic for its guests? Oh, I think if you're creating a comic for your guests and you're a physical convention, you should probably print something.
Yeah, I remember TCAF used to do that. They had a nice year. I don't know if they still do it, but they had a nice yearly kind of just 20-page comic. They would get local creators, I think, to do stuff in. So it's nice. And same with San Diego Comic-Con, I think, actually would do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice kind of memento for sure. Yeah, I would go physical myself. Yeah.
If it's for like a convention giveaway, then like probably no one's going to go to your URL.
Yeah.
But if you're just like an independent creator and you're making a comic and like, I wouldn't ever print it until it was like it had an audience.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's
for sure.
That's exactly. That's a good.
I mean, you could print maybe like a zine or a leaflet, maybe the first few pages. I don't know if that's beneficial or not, and then lead them to the website with the bigger story.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Spitballing.
What do you got? What are you working on there, Carl? I just want to see you draw, man.
I'm drawing the back of this spaceship right now.
Nice.
Oh damn.
Man, you're the stuff I've seen in that looks fantastic, dude. You using Clip Studio here?
Yep. I never looked back. I started using Clip Studio, I think, when we were doing that Assassin's Creed book.
Yep, that's right.
And never looked back. But now I'm on an iPad Pro for everything, instead of.
I know. Andy's talking about me, and ditto, buddy. You drive me crazy too, brother. Yeah,
that was a Fine Young Cannibals reference.
Yeah.
I know Andy like I know my own mind.
Gary.
I know all of his references.
Yeah, the Clip Studio for me is definitely amazing, and these guys harass me because I don't know all the functions, but I'm getting there. And Ramon's gonna give me a nice little lesson on how to use some of that stuff. I plan to do.
We keep trying.
I'll tell you, man, it's way easier to learn now than it was then.
Yeah,
like it was like a cryptic. I don't know, like it was sort of Photoshoppy, but some like weirdly obtuse.
Is that Manga Studio? Is that what you mean?
It was Manga Studio at the time. Yeah, but now it's like a little. I would say way more obvious or
well, I love accessible. It for sure. I'm actually doing a lot more of my concept art and work for Warframe on it now. It's also something nice to get out of this office because this where I'm recording here too is super warm, and like I like to just get out of my seat and go. Thanks, Rob. That's great.
Yeah.
I'd like to get out of my seat and like sit somewhere else in the house so I can draw on a couch or draw outside. And get some fresh air and stuff. And the Clip Studio on the iPad is fantastic. Or sorry, I'm lying. I'm using Procreate on that.
See, Procreate's something I never really got into.
So it's funny. I'm learning more and more. I learn about it. And Joe Vereen, he uses it quite a bit. So he's helped me out with kind of like how to figure out some of the functions, and it's pretty damn cool program.
It is. Yeah.
I have yet to get Clip Studio for the iPad, but I have it for my my work computer, and I do all kind of my final stuff on it because it's just so awesome.
Yeah, I think the hardest part with Clip, I mean, this is what I found when I first tackled it years ago, was just because there's slight differences from Photoshop. So those slight differences kind of confuse you a bit at first, like how they deal with layers or that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's a much more refined program for art. You know?
For sure. Well, yeah, Photoshop's a photo editing software, right?
You know what I mean?
It did, and the fucking bastards took that line tool option away with the latest Photoshop. Like
the line tool,
like the hotkey is it U, and like use it to like line like just draw lines quickly, like perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They took that away. It's now some other.
Keep changing stuff. I got perplexed the other day because like I hit I for the eyedropper tool and it was buried under some other thing. I'm like, what the?
My biggest frustration has been when you're scaling something and you hit shift to lock it.
Yeah.
And it seems like with every update they change their mind whether you
have
to
reverse
use shift
it
or not use it. So I'm like,
that happened
oh my god.
3 times today. I'm like, why is this? Oh, like am I holding shift or am I not holding shift?
Yeah, it's like I swear they're going back and forth just to fuck with us. It's just like ridiculous.
It's like they're not updating it; they're just changing it so it feels like a new edition. It's just actually more annoying. Like instead of building on what works, every time, like whenever I select something and try to fuck around with the scaling and stuff, it's like what hotkey now does this because you have to like Control Alt Command or Shift and it does a different function, and I get used to it, and then they change it again.
Yeah. It's so ridiculous.
But it's probably making you smarter. It's like
100%.
It's good to like exercise those brain synapses every once in a while. But it's like some people will like move their garbage pail in the kitchen to force their synapses to adjust, or like brush your teeth with your other hand.
That's weird.
Well, it's like speaking of shared in college, the life drawing teacher would make us draw with your left hand sometimes.
Oh yeah. Just as punishment,
just to kind of rework the brain, or like see how well you can still observe, because like the hand and the Conte is just a tool, right? It's like it's just your ability of observation and plotting it on the page, right? So I thought that's kind of an interesting technique. I hated it, but it's an interesting idea.
Do you do a lot of like form-based like gestural stuff, like Conte stuff, when you're working on Warframe, or is it mostly because I'm a line art guy. Like I've never done a lot of like just mass gestures. You know what I mean? I
feel like I'm trying to explore that more, like shape languages and like just bigger forms, because I love the line myself. I'm a huge line guy. In fact, I kind of annoy my team with like, hey, any chance you want to show more line art? That's cool. Because honestly, it's like it's so that's such a fundamental ability to draw well with just the line. And everyone gets kind of lost up with the program's layer functions and all these other things, and they throw in 3D, which is fine. It's a tool in itself. But it's like, can you just draw something and rotate it in 3D, like with the drawing, like that to me, I'm like, okay, you've mastered, or you have a good sense of technical ability with that stuff, because you need.
I think that's what like really comes from like an animation.
Yeah, background. You know what? Totally.
I am right-handed. Mama deadhead.
Yeah, same here, right-handed.
Yeah.
I hit left golf though, so when I golf, I'm a lefty.
Really?
Interesting.
And I play soccer with my right foot, so not well, but man, I miss playing soccer. Damn.
But probably start that up. It's a very distant sport.
Well, not really. Not if you're playing like I play.
Like playing dirty.
No, like the other team, you got to get that ball from the other person, right? So, but I'm trying to draw less stick figures. I'm working on this pose, Rob. It's getting there, buddy. It's getting there.
Actually, you actually surprised me a few years ago. Something I never knew about you was your painting abilities. When you did a few Star Wars pieces in oil, I was blown away with your not to blow smoke up your ass or anything, but just like your perception of form and shape and all that stuff.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
No, I was so impressed.
And
super jealous.
That's something that I really want to explore down the road. More and more is getting back to painting. I signed up for like a 4-year course, and I've just been trying to juggle so much other work right now. I haven't been able to dive into it, but I got plans. That kind of like speaks to my long-term plans, and that leads to my next question for Karl.
Hey, all right.
What is your long-term goals, bud? Like, you got all these plans, but there's always something on the horizon. You're like, I hope it gets there. Or I hope I'm doing this.
I don't know. Like, I feel like if like all my long-term goals are just try to tell as many of these stories as I can before I die.
Right.
Like the stuff that's in my head, just try to get like I want to do. I'm thinking pretty short term. Like I like this thing I'm working on. Let's get as much of it done as I can to get a print version done of it. Like I'm just trying to like. I work on so many things at once. Like it's been my real Achilles heel, I think, is that like I've never really doubled down on like a specific style or thing. Like I'm doing like 3 or 4 different things, not just projects, but like they're all different. Like I don't know. I've never known how to market it or myself because I don't know if I'm like, am I a superhero guy? Am I a funny animal guy? Am I like, I don't know. Like
yeah,
I don't know how to sell that, and I'm not good at selling myself anyway. So, but I feel like now I'm sort of thinking, I'm sort of chunking it. Like I'm going to do this thing, and here's kind of when it's going to come out, and then I'm going to shift gears and do this other thing. So I'm not really thinking super long term, aside from just like finish as many of these things as I can.
Right.
So is Death Transit Tanager an old idea that kind of leapt to the front, or was it a fresh idea that kind of came to you? Because I always find it interesting, because I know a lot of us have all these ideas rummaging around, and sometimes you might have something sitting on the back burner for a decade that finally makes it to the front, and other times it's like you go off the cuff and suddenly you have something brand new that you run with because it's more inspiring or whatever.
Well, yeah, this was definitely one of those things. I was actually working on another story in my head, and this is what happened with Charles Christopher too. I was trying to formally write this other thing, and I was really I was writing it for like 2 years, just on and off, just trying to figure this thing out. Like I've got all these notes. I've written, I don't know how many drafts of it I wrote. I would write a draft of it and then like try to sort out story problems, plot problems, and I'd like not like something, I'd just go back and start rewriting. And I did this on and off for a long time. And then I hit the point where like I was just like, I don't know about you guys, but like I don't know how, I love writing, but I don't know how, as a writer, I don't know how you go to bed feeling good about yourself. I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but like but I've just lived most of my life feeling like I don't feel like if I didn't make the most of the day unless I have something to show for it. Like I need to have finished a page or have gotten somewhere tangible. Yeah. And like I might have written 20 pages, but if I go to bed and I have nothing to actually look at or show for it, I feel like I didn't do anything. So I was, I'd rewritten this thing like umpteen times, and I was just depressed. I was lying in bed and I was like, I was thinking like, I got to just do something. I can't rewrite this thing again right now. I have to do something that I can just like finish quickly, something that's easy, like something that's not going to beat me up. And then I had this idea, like the Death Transit Tanager idea. The story kind of came to me really quickly. Like I got up to go to the bathroom, I came back and I was like, oh, I think I got an idea. And so I just started writing this thing down. I was like, it's going to be like 12 or 13 pages. It's great. I'm just going to do this thing, and that'll be it. And it turned into 20, but still, like it actually came from. Anyway, before I get into that, like it was so easy. Like it was so. Like you just know when you're doing something right when it just happens. Like it kind of just like you just channel it. It just kind of flows through you, and you're like, oh, this isn't like. I just understand this. Like it has a beginning, middle, and end. Like I know who the character is without having to beat my head against the wall trying to figure it out. It was just like a, one and done kind of very, very simple thing. And I just knew what it was. And so I just wrote it down and I started drawing it. And I was so happy. I just kept going. But it actually came from, do you guys know Zach Gorman? He's an artist I've been following for a while, writer artist actually. He did these years ago. I noticed his work online, and he would do these. He would do a lot of illustrations of like old 16-bit Nintendo game scenes. So he would draw like a scene from basically like imagining a scene from like an old Zelda game or from Metroid or something. And they were these just amazing, evocative moments. Like, I don't know if how familiar you guys are with Eric, Metroid. Ramon, you for sure don't.
No, I know Metroid. I actually know Metroid.
But like, he was drawing these illustrations, just these little illustrations of Samus, like kind of like curled up in like just a slimy cavern, and like just captures like the loneliness of this environment, and I thought this would just make a great comic. I was, why is nobody making Metroid comics? And there were, of course, there have been Metroid manga, but I haven't really read them, and I think they're probably very action based. I should look them up. But anyway, I sort of had this sort of notion in my head from way back to do like something like that, like take that sort of aesthetic and that sort of atmosphere and like just spin it into something else. So that's where it came from.
Nice. I keep losing my camera here. Sorry, Rob. I know you keep bugging me. Anyway, speaking of like you're doing something, and I was reading Dante's Inferno because I really got into like poetry, and still am quite intrigued by it because I kind of always just was like, whatever, poetry. I didn't really put much into it, and then I started kind of like I'd come across some quotes, or I'd read like the Hellboy intros, and it was like a snippet of some crazy poem, and I'm like, I'm gonna check out some stuff. And obviously there's all these different ways of how you can write poetry and stuff, and I was like, well, let's read the Dante's Inferno and get started there. That's kind of a major one. And I was just floored by the efficiency of the word with poetry and how powerful it was, and that kind of got me super inspired. So I'm like, I'm gonna write a poem, which I've never done, but I was just so moved by it that I just kind of had this ardent story, and I sat down kind of, and within an hour or two, I'd written this like 10, 15 page kind of like story that I was working on already, but I'm like, nothing's working. I'm like, but if I wrote it in poetry and then I did an illustration to it, that might be something. And that's where I came up with the Devil's Leash, which was a 30, I only published 30 of them to try it out. And but it was one of those moments, speaking to what you were saying, where like everything just kind of felt right, and I was so impressed with it. Not impressed, that I don't want to pat myself on the back, but I was just so surprised. I was like, this is great. I love this. This is like, this feels right, and it's so weird when that happens, and awesome. Mm-hmm. But that's actually something I plan to revisit. I actually want to redraw all those illustrations and publish it properly. So,
Devil's Leash is a great title.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah. Actually, I wonder if I got it sitting up here on my stupid bookshelf here.
There's nothing wrong with patting yourself on the back every so often.
I was going to say that. Like, I know, like, we're Canadian and everything. But,
yeah.
And I have a hard time doing that. But sometimes, like, you're just good at something. Like,
it's good to be proud. You know what I mean? We spend so much of our time second guessing our abilities and our, circling back to what we said earlier, like you look at all these new artists and everything, but sometimes you just do something, you're like, fuck, that turned out great or awesome or whatever it might be.
Well, I'm very proud of it, that's for sure. And I don't really hide that, I guess. I just when I showed the raid guys, they're like, the illustrations look cool, but the font choice is bananas. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, my layout abilities was awful. Like, I picked the wildest fonts, and I'm like, what am I doing?
bad font can kill you, man. Like bad lettering can
never
really
reach out to us, man.
Dude, like, I don't know anything, and that was like me just like trying something. So I realize now, get a couple of other people's because man, it was shocking at how many people were like, what's with the font? I'm like, I thought it was cool.
Didn't you also forget your like name or your URL or something? I can't remember.
Also, you also want to put your name on it too. So, which I didn't do. So I get the books and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? There's my name down on it. So I ended up getting like those stickers and printing them out with like a little logo and like 1 of 30, because like now it became like this special thing. Like, oh no, I planned this. Like, oh my god. Anyway,
amazing.
Lessons
the whole
learned.
point of having like a studio and peers and pals is like you want to run that stuff by. Like, they'll tell you if they're they'll tell you if you're going like I'm not great at giving like titling things, and so like Andy is he's my filter for title. Like, I'm terrified of like, he'll tell me if my title idea sucks, so like I'll come up with a list of stuff and sort of like gingerly pitch it to him, and if he thinks it's okay, then I feel like, okay, that's pretty good, because he's amazing at coming up with names for shit.
No, he is.
I'm not either. I don't like and naming characters or or cities or something. I'm like, that's why I got Sheldon. Let him do it.
I read so Andy's his Kickstarter launched today for the second Mother Trucker book, and I read that. I read his script for it like several weeks ago, and it is great. Like it is a really good script. Like I liked his first issue. This one is like he's just got really good structural sense. You know, like it just moves really well. It feels like there was so much heavy lifting to do in the first one to kind of set things up, and this one just moves. It's like watching
nice.
It feels like it was like watching an episode of really good TV. So I'm excited to see that one come together.
Yeah, no, I remember the stuff we did with TX. What was this? Raising Hell was the comic, I think. Yeah, like it just he's got a good energy and a good vibe, and it just like it translates well to like keep you engaged.
Yeah.
And I love this first issue, but yeah, you could tell you're setting it up. You got to put in all the foundation, and then you can have fun with it afterwards, which is always the fun of the later issues, or just see where the characters take you. You know.
Yep. Oh, also, since I saw Sam in here.
Speaking where characters take you, you mean is Charles Christopher a finite thing, or?
Yeah.
Probably get people to ask you this. Yeah.
It is. Yeah. I want to do one more book. I'll probably do a fourth book, and then that'll be.
Shit. Okay.
Yeah, that'll be done.
That's awesome.
Well, it's been a long run. You've been doing it for 10 years? No, longer.
More. 14.
14, yeah, because we started 2007.
Yep.
Yeah, that's been a haul.
Like I did it for 7 straight years weekly because as you recall, like we made bets with each other.
Yeah, well, it was like you'd have to buy lunch.
Yeah.
If
everyone got their own week to update or weekday to update.
Yeah.
And if you missed your update day, you had to buy lunch for the rest of the crew. And I never missed. I was like, I'm not missing this. And I just kept going.
Yeah.
Money's a good motivator.
It's a whole accountability thing, right? It's like you don't want to pay, you don't want to buy lunch, or whatever it is. It's just
it was mostly just pride. Like I'm not going to be the guy who fucks this up.
Yeah.
And thank God, like it was the only thing I was so disciplined with that comic for so long, and like it's the only reason as much of it exists is.
It's amazing. Like how many strips do you have overall?
Like 400 and something.
That's amazing,
I don't know.
dude.
Yeah,
that is wonderful.
Yeah. That's one thing I got to really work on is being more disciplined, and I think we got a plan for this, and it's kind of a return to the TX module a little bit, and because otherwise you just end up doing nothing. Like weeks go by, and you're like, oh, I got to get to that thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, hey Pat, what's up, buddy? Good to hear from you. Jeez, hope you're doing well. That's that head is from. It's in the Raid 4 story. It's someone who did a lot of damage to this character's lineage, if you will. So more will be revealed.
More will be revealed.
But I'm working on the next story. Basically, it's kind of starting the story for Arden. The previous anthology ones were kind of have a place in it, but there's we've kind of altered some things, so we're pretty excited to get to it. So
nice,
yeah, I can't wait. So what's this?
Hey, shout out to Sam Noir.
Oh man, the guy's amazing.
Oh
my
God.
Machine.
So Sam he's been like, I've been on and off the phone with him. Like we only really met properly like in the last few weeks, and like I don't know what I'd do without him. Like we've basically just been guiding us through Kickstarter launches and telling us all sorts of stuff we didn't know, and
he's great.
And I want to thank him again.
Yeah,
personally,
he was our man behind the curtain on Forest Folk as well, and it was indispensable, so helpful, so giving,
and just also so knowledgeable. I remember Dak saying that like the first couple of emails he got from him was just overwhelmed with what he's like. What? I didn't know how to do all this. I had no idea what he was talking about.
Yeah, Dax was very, very overwhelmed at first. It was very hilarious.
And, I was kind of the opposite, like because Sam would keep saying, "Stop me if you're feeling overwhelmed." And I was always like, "No, tell me more. I just want to know everything. Just tell me everything. Like, I just want to be really prepared."
Yeah,
and, I think with Dax, it was just more so the fact that like because we use Basecamp for a lot of our in studio kind of like what do you call it, like organizing, I guess, especially for the campaigns.
Yeah, we're starting to get that. Yep.
And it was just funny because like we just woke up and there was about, without exaggeration, like 80 posts by Sam the next day.
Yeah.
In the base camp, and we're just like, oh my god, like what's going on here?
It's on.
But you just gotta parse it in pieces, and you just go in and you're like, okay, what's relevant now? What's relevant later?
Yep.
And but yeah, it was amazing, like just truly amazing.
Also, I think it really just gels with my. Like my brain is always like, even if it's not Kickstarter, like my brain is always half on creative stuff and half on kind of like business tech. Like I enjoy that stuff almost as much. So it's nice. Yeah. It's nice just being able to like switch gears and nerd out over both.
Oh yeah,
things.
No, I'm the same way, and I'll often get sighs and grunts from the studio when I'm like, "Hey guys." Love this Basecamp or Slack or whatever it is.
Actually, Warframe is starting to use it too now more. We have Slack like everyone does, but things get lost in that.
Well, it was actually Sheldon, your co-writer, who actually introduced me to Basecamp. He's like, for that exact reason, because Slack things get lost and it's great for like regular communication, but Basecamp is just so nice and organized for my is it your right side of the brain? I don't know. It's like
I never remember either.
It's like the opposite of it's like that control OCD where I just like, okay, compartmentalize, put it here, and but yeah.
So if I start to go all crazy at some point in this next hour, because I did get my second shot today. So.
You did? Mine's tomorrow morning. I'm a little worried I'm going to be just down.
Oh God, both of you start foaming at the mouth.
I had a bunch of my friends at work got it, and we've been on this like COVID vaccination hunt of where can we get number 2? Is there a way to speed it up? And so I got mine today at about 2, and the arm's sore, but like I think it's the night that's going to be the true. that's gonna show its. I think it's gonna show its rear its ugly head during the night, and I think the next day. So, but I mean, I've also heard that some of them didn't feel a thing. The other ones. It's like the flu. The nurse said it's like the flu. So I said, "Can I have a drink still?" Yeah, you're good. Okay. If I get drunk, then it's like, is it a hangover? The flu anyway. It's
more importantly, is it the
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of tech, Carl, like I'm watching you draw this spaceship, and it makes me think. I remember talking to Stuart Immonen years ago when he worked on Next Wave. I don't know if you ever read Next Wave.
Yeah.
And he did the ship in that, he told me, in SketchUp, like as a 3D model.
Oh yeah, I believe it. I mean, that was a while ago, so he was ahead of the curve. But like,
yeah, he was.
His Grass of Parnassus stuff. I think I saw some process stuff, and he's just built all that stuff in SketchUp.
Yeah, and like he says it's like a double-edged sword. It's like frustrating, but it's extremely handy and satisfying. Is this something like you would ever do?
I want to. I just like haven't ever started modeling in SketchUp. It would be so much simpler once I had these models, because I'm kind of just
it's tough to like, especially like a complex ship. Like, I mean, it's fun to do, but
yeah,
sometimes it's like, oh, I could like whether it's SketchUp or I think you could use Blender as well.
Yeah, I've looked at Blender like tutorials and things. Like,
yeah,
it's the kind of thing like I taught myself 3D Studio Max years ago. Mm-hmm. It is like the kind of thing like slightly younger me would totally just get sidetracked doing.
Yeah.
But right now I don't know how I could manage it and still get anything done. I know I know it like has net positive results. Like you eventually end up saving time.
I tried getting into the ZBrush. That's quite a program. The interface is fucking awful, but anyway, it's a powerful machine program. I still tinker with the idea of learning that more and more. So, but What do we got here? Some questions here. Oh no, Pat. No, second shot. Yeah, I'm not fit. Am I sitting beside myself? Not yet, man. It should be like I'm just waiting for it to hit. Like, if I throw up on camera, that's part of my act every show. Every week.
Throw up in the beard.
Yeah. Dinner for later. But
the other thing too is like I'm making this. I haven't drawn the ship from this angle, so I'm just making stuff up as I go here.
Yeah. My perspective eye is catching some mistakes. I'm sorry, Carl.
It's definitely screwed up. But that's I can correct some of that stuff later.
Actually, this is a interesting. Like, this is a question for you, Carl, because I find like a lot of artists will fall into two different groups. Are you a design on the page kind of guy? Or
always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the other part was like, do you spend thousands of hours pre-designing and like building? No. So you're a design on the page guy.
Yeah, I have to. I can't otherwise. I feel like I'm not accomplishing anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I go back and forth. Like I have a boatload of stuff I got to design for what we're gonna get started, and I think just because of my concept background, I definitely got to spend time offline designing this stuff before I attack it. But I do, because he's talking about shapes and stuff, Carl, earlier. It's like sometimes you just like a shape works and you're like, but that's not in my design. It's like, well, I'm going to force it now into my design because this angle looks really cool with this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's a tough one. What do we got here? Oh yeah, werewolf.
Yeah. Werewolf? What?
If it goes really weird, I have to change my tag to Eric Werewolf Vedder. Yeah. So you talked about your plans for Abominable. Is Isola going any further?
Yep. I'm drawing the third volume of it still. That'll be, who knows? I don't know. It's really like we don't know what we're doing. Brendan got really sick.
Oh shit!
Early, he got COVID badly. Like he had symptoms for months and months.
Okay?
Oh really? Oh shit!
Yeah, he's okay now.
Great.
But like we basically sidelined everything, and
oh wow, like that.
And no, he's still very busy with stuff, other things like life things now. But
shout out to him. Good to hear he's doing better.
Yeah, I miss that guy, man. It's been too long.
Always a nice fella.
Yeah. So we're it's right now like the industry's in such a crazy place. Like we're gonna keep doing it, but it's like a question of what are we gonna, how are we gonna release this now? Like do we just keep going till we've done a whole trade? Do we do issues? Do we do what? Like I don't know.
I love the idea of just doing trades and books, but obviously I guess the issues are a great way to kind of keep people interested in the interim.
I guess so. Like the idea of it, like our issues were basically they were generating enough money for us to pay Michelle to color it and play Aditya to letter it and like give us a little bit, but like it wasn't like you couldn't live off of it.
Yeah.
So that's that's the conundrum. And then also because of the way comics sales work in the direct market, 99% of the time, like we're losing sales every issue.
I wonder what the I'm not sure the word I'm looking for is, but what it would, if it would be possible, or what it would look like if you were to actually transfer that from the image model to actually going on Kickstarter and going, hey, this is a campaign to raise funds to pay for the creation of the book, and give me a year, and then you'll have like I don't know if would that be something that would be potentially feasible, or like. Well,
I mean,
like the market's changing.
It's interesting to me for sure.
Yeah.
Like I would always love to do that. I think it's a conversation we'd have to have with the Image, because I don't know how they feel about that sort of thing. But we haven't actually talked to them about it at all. We've just sort of been kind of working on it quietly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like I think I don't see why not. Like ultimately, like it's Image, so you could really do
whatever you want.
Whatever. I mean, it's ours to do what we want with. But like I value my relationship with them
for sure,
and I don't want to, I don't want to like do anything that they wouldn't want to do. So it's just a conversation we'd have to.
Yeah. No, it's interesting because like I found it surprising that you had companies like Skybound and Boom now using Kickstarter to fund collections and different things. Like, I guess it's kind of no different than like a Penguin Random House using a Canadian grant to fund one of their books. But I thought it was weird that these guys are using the platform. So in my mind, I'm like, it's Keanu. Doesn't he have the money to fund the project? Like, you know,
Keanu.
But but people are still happy to support, like the Skybound one for what was it called? Excellence, I believe it was called.
Kari Randolph's book.
Yeah, and I supported that, and it like I think they cleared 100,000. I'm not sure. I can't remember offhand.
Oh, they did. Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
really well.
So it was like amazing. So obviously people don't mind supporting the creation of a book, and that in this way you're guaranteeing the that you're in the black right off the bat. I don't know. It's I feel like it's gonna be an interesting next several years as things shift in the publishing landscape.
Yeah, definitely, and I'm interested to see how many of our peers in the mainstream comics kind of start doing their own Kickstarter books.
Like I would if I could move my entire career onto a Kickstarter model, like.
Well, you basically can. Like
I think it's just that fear of diving in and seeing what's possible. Like I don't know. I have this fear that like, how relevant are you? How many people are going to back this? Like, because obviously you're paying to produce a book, but you're also paying for the time spent to create that book to a certain degree. So you could actually pay your mortgage, your rent, whatever it might be, right? So I guess that's the fear. Or the concern, not a fear, but a concern, I guess.
Well, it's a perception. I mean, I'm dealing with this now, right? Like the Charles Christopher Kickstarter has cleared $70,000, which is amazing. And it sounds like a crazy amount of money for a softcover book, but it's also, first of all, it's not overnight. It's 14 years of me working.
Oh no, 100%, exactly, right.
And also, like, a large chunk of that is like printing, Kickstarter's cut, paying for all the merchandise, and then if I do, like, it's the reason I'm dragging my feet. I just want to make sure I cross all the T's and dot the I's before I jump in on some kind of hardcover option, is because
for sure,
like, that could basically be the whole shebang, right? And then I've basically done all this thing. Yeah, I've broken even, but I also haven't worked on anything else for a month. Yeah, and it's just you have to balance.
Oh, for sure,
your own needs with this stuff,
especially with your hardcovers, which are so in depthly beautiful, like from like the tactile touch of the furry covers to whatnot, like that's like a pretty penny to go all out and give your audience something that amazing. Yeah,
because you're desperate to make everybody happy.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's hard to kind of balance it financially, so I'm getting there. I mean, like I got to make some decisions pretty soon.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's always just about pulling the ripcord, really. And going, where am I? How's this going to happen? And
But you could move your entire career to a Kickstarter model right now. I mean, like, things change all the time.
Yeah.
But as it stands at the moment. I think like it's...
No, I was like, I don't know if you follow.
Some are doing that, aren't they? Some are doing that as their.
Yeah, I mean, to a degree, I think.
Isn't Andy kind of trying to work towards that with the way he's releasing the?
I think so. Yeah. And I think, like, I don't know if you guys follow Curtis Clow or Clow. I'm not
sure I spoke to him because we kind of did a cross promotion for each other's books on Kickstarter. And I know, Sam. I know. I'm working on it. I talk to Sam about this like every other day.
Yeah. Because Curtis has been basically funding all the issues of the Beastlands, basically. Which is amazing.
But look, like his first couple of them they barely made funding.
But you build, right? And
exactly.
That's exactly right. And that's the and I think, it's about getting to that point where you can leave one thing behind and go to the next thing, which ideally, if I, in the next couple of years, if I could pull that off, it'll be an amazing thing, I think.
Are you doing you're doing this still? Congrats on the Eisner nominations, by the way.
Oh, thanks, dude. So that has a certain longevity to it, and but like, as any series, it's not a forever thing. So obviously at one point there will be a finite end to this series, and after that I'd like to I would love to land on my feet to the point where I'm just doing my stuff. I've done the Marvel thing. I have no interest in working for other companies on large projects. The special things here and there I love. Like, I love the collaboration with other creators. Like, I have a great book coming out with Kyle Higgins later this year, and that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, if I think back on who I was as a kid, it was always me doing my own stories. It was never me working on, I never did Marvel. Like, I never did like hey, here's my X-Men, fan art. It was always like, here's my take on superheroes, or here's my take on sci-fi, or whatever it was. I was always creating my own stuff, and I feel like I've lost a bit of that over the past several years, just to maintain the life of an adult. And it's just about getting back to that point where I can. And I think now the cards are things are available now that weren't available even a decade ago, that make it so much more feasible, I think. When we did the webcomic stuff, it was like, unless you were merching the shit out of your stuff, you weren't really making a living off of it.
No, well, it was an ad supported model then.
Yeah.
And none of us were running ads.
Yeah.
Because none of us really went into it with, it was a hobby. Like, none of us were really looking to replace our day jobs with this thing. So
no, but I think none of us wanted. I don't think none of us wanted to run ads. Like,
I didn't. I really did not.
Yeah, I didn't either. I felt like it would diminish what I was doing. That might be like a bit. I'm not sure, egotistical or whatever.
I was just excited to join you guys. I was like, oh my God, because I was doing it on my own already. And then, I don't know, Scott Hepburn introduced me to you guys and Ramon specifically. And then you guys were doing this online thing. And I was like, I was all nervous. Like, are they going to let me join and do that? And that's kind of where.
The funny part was, I remember Karl joining us for lunch. We went to... or not lunch, maybe it was a dinner thing, I can't remember, but that really shitty Italian place on College Street.
Oh yeah, that place sucked.
And you just kind of sat there and like kind of watched, and you were kind of like, maybe not.
Well, because you guys had started, the wheels were in motion to do these webcomics,
exactly. And you
before I joined the studio.
Yeah, exactly. You just joined, and then maybe he'll be resurrected. I'm not sure, but Baby Cowboy was your first.
Oh yeah,
your first inception.
What?
Yeah, he was actually pretty awesome. We were all loving it to no end. And then it was funny because Karl had worked up like 2 or 3 Baby Cowboy strips, and then because Karl was living in Mississauga at the time, so he was driving in.
Yeah,
and he just showed up one day going, I listened to something on the radio, I believe it was, or something, or maybe I'm getting this wrong, Karl. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but like, you heard something on the radio and you suddenly switched over to Charles Christopher. Like, it was hilarious how like you're like, nope, 180 degree turn, But
Eric, I'll give you the elevator pitch for Baby Cowboy was, it's a baby who's also a cowboy.
I vividly remember because I think you did like 2 or 3 pages, if I recall, and it was just like this baby with a gun sitting there.
It was. And it was a baby, and every time I cut to a shot of Baby Cowboy, it was just a helpless baby with a hat and like a gun sitting on, because it can't lift a gun.
No.
But somehow the outlaw got shot.
Yeah, I don't what you were saying. You're bad at titling things. I don't know, dude. That's
But I think my
That's pretty
favorite
great.
part, like the thing I miss the most about not sharing a studio with Karl anymore, is the fact that like you just hear him giggle over at his table and just like laugh as he like would draw this shit. And you'd be like, "What's going on over there?" And you'd like wander over, and
so
like he's just drawing this thing, right?
You want to know the origins of Baby Cowboy? You know do you remember like there was like a song, there was a song probably in the late 90s or something like that, that the lyrics were, "I want to be a cowboy, baby." I just switched those words.
I want to be a baby cowboy.
I thought, oh, it's so clear in my head.
You're ahead of your time, buddy.
Oh my god, that's amazing. Maybe he'll resurface one day somewhere. Who knows?
What's this?
I think the art for it is somewhere.
We got a question here, Ramon. Also a side.
We got going here. So Mama Deadhead's asking, for all, how hard is it to create art for a continuing series? For example, a town that might age was its last side question. I mean, it's it's fine. It's funny. My OCD brain wants to like. It's funny because Stillwater's like Chip's creation. Like he came up with the idea. It's his concept, and but you want like my part of the brain wants to like create every aspect of the town, like the streets where every building is, but obviously something like that is very almost impossible to do on a monthly series unless you have a lot of lead time and you're laying down maps and the like. But I think with something like Stillwater, for me anyways, is like you're trying to add life to this town that's existed for however many hundreds of years, through different eras and styles and building sort of thing. So I mean it's weird because like I never thought it would be, but when I started Stillwater, or now working on Stillwater for over 2 years now, it's a very ref heavy book where I'm constantly looking at photos of small towns, how they're built, if this town existed in the 1700s or 1800s, like what kind of architecture did it have? What kind of, what does a city hall look like in a 100-year-old town or a 200-year-old town? And so it's actually far more complex, than say, for example, if I were doing a sci-fi, I think it would be, you're also designing, but you have more freedom, right? Because you're creating something new. Whereas with a town, like especially Americana, you're dealing with people's existing perceptions of what a small town is, the vibe it has, and that sort of thing. So I think I love adding the age to things, and I love creating, but it's a lot more work than I expected it would be.
I just avoid it, so that's how I do it.
You always see these, like you see designs for like animated films and like even like TV shows where someone has painstakingly laid out all these, just done a ton of pre-production work. Mm-hmm. And I always look at that stuff and think, oh, I would love to do that. But then the reality is like, I don't have the time to do that. And also if I spent the time doing that, I'd just burn myself out and I'd never produce anything.
Yeah, no, it's weird. Cause like kind of getting back to what you said before, like I'm a big design on the page kind of artist. No matter how much I try, like even with Stillwater, I did about 3 or 4 sketches before I started the series. But then once I actually started working on the series, it's almost like everything that I did beforehand gets kind of thrown out the window. Because I find characters kind of get their own life once they're on the page, and you're kind of learning how to draw them as you go. Like I think no matter how much pre-design you do, they will change once you start drawing them in.
Well, your style changes too, right? That might affect the design.
Right. But it's also, I think you can't predict. Like I can't remember the artist right now. He does an online series, and I'm completely blanking on the name. But I was super impressed by his web comic. I wish I could remember it offhand. But he did his designs, but then he did a test comic of like 15 pages or 10 pages to see how his designs would work on the page, just to see how he would draw them and how like the clothing would move and whatever. And I was like, I wish I had that much time or energy or you know what I mean? Like it just like I was super impressed by it. Like I wish I could do that, but for me it'd just be like I'm just diving in and going to it and hoping for the best. Like you know.
Well, it happens too when you're like what, like I don't know about you guys, but like I will have a project in mind and I'll think I want to try to do it in this other style. But like and it works to an extent, but like your brain and your habits just kind of slowly rubber band you back to what you're comfortable with.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So it'll retain some of that new stuff, but kind of you just do what you do, and there's sort of no getting around it.
Yeah, that was like when I did Kookaburra, I was like that. I was trying different ways to like how do I create this style that I want for this book, you know, and I would test different inking methods or actually quick question, Carl. You just made me think of it. Do you still do Charles Christopher traditionally?
No, I did up until I lived in Japan for that year. And it was just like I had my iPad with me and I thought I'm just going to see what this looks like digitally. And I found some brushes and it's not perfect. Like it's not as nice and textural, but it's pretty close and it keeps me working on it. So like, it's really just an expedience thing. Like I could haul out a pad of paper and some brushes, but I'm too lazy to do it is really what it comes down to.
No, I was just curious. I remember for the longest time, it was basically, was it every Wednesday? I think it was.
Yeah, every Wednesday.
Where you would just basically pull out the blank piece of paper, stare at it, and create.
And like the first, I mean, like, you know, 90% of the strips are just in these big sketchbooks.
Yeah, exactly. I remember that.
It's only like the last handful that I've done digitally, but
okay. It's
hard to like. It's kind of sad. Like part of me wants to kind of go back and do a traditional.
Well, this is kind of the reason, not only to do stuff every week, is I wanted to get back to drawing on paper, and that is why my stuff looks like this blue outfit that Andy said it looked like. It's like, what's that blue mud? I'm like, look, I'm working on it, all right. But I miss the tactile of the paper and the erasers, and I use erasers a lot. So, and the digital stuff's amazing, and it's so hard to kind of almost justify doing something on paper because it's like, oh shit. Because eventually you scan it in and you transfer to digital anyway.
And then you also correct it and you like go in and you manipulate it again, right?
Yeah. So you're like, okay, cool. So
anyway. Yeah, how many times do you want to be looking at that same image? Like I remember when I first, because like when I was teaching myself to make comics, it was like dawn of the internet. Like there was no real internet, and it was whatever there was, like there was no there were no online resources for learning how to draw comics. So like all of my information came from like Wizard magazine and the like comic book greats video where Stan Lee basically interviews Jim Lee and like he draws like, so like there was an interview that Jim Lee did in Wizard or something where he's talking about his process. And he said he does a rough, he used like a non-repro blue pencil. And he would do a rough version of the page. Oh, sorry, wait a second. That's not true. This is the fucked up part. So no, he would use like a light lead pencil and he'd sketch out the whole page. And then he would go over that with a non-repro blue pencil. And then he'd erase the whole page so only the blue was left.
Oh my God.
And then he'd re-pencil it in finished pencil after that. And then he'd send it away to ink. So like for like a few years, I was drawing a page like 3 times.
Oh my God.
Like every page I was like drawing. I was like, this is what Jim Lee does. I got to draw this page in the pencil, then go over it in blue, then erase it all, then redraw it. And now I can't even believe the amount of time. that must have taken.
Yeah, I remember doing that with you. I'd pencil when I first started my career, I would pencil so tight, and then I would take the kneaded eraser and I would kind of like press it on the pencils to diminish them.
This is a kneaded eraser right here, if you're wondering. Well, this is why I started inking my own stuff, because like because then we got to the point where I was doing some stuff for Marvel. It was like 1990 something.
Yeah.
And we got to the point where you had to FedEx everything into Marvel, like all your original pages. But I had access to a scanner, and my pencils were so tight already that I found when I scanned them and dicked with the levels, like they basically looked like inked pages. And I had to talk. It was Bobby Chase at the time. I had to say, Bobby, can we just call this inked, and I can send it, I can upload it to the FTP, and they were like, we don't know what you're talking about, and we have like a pipeline here, and you just got to send us the pages. I don't know what you're.
So was someone else inking you?
No. Well, before that, someone was.
Okay.
But then, I basically talked them into letting me just ink myself, but it was just my pencils. Like no one was sending in digital files at the time. I think I was one of the first guys to be like, can't I just send this finished page to you digitally?
Yeah.
And they were baffled.
I remember one of the first times I actually interacted with you, because I knew your work a little bit when you had your. It's funny how life goes, but I had bookmarked your website, Whorehouse, HORHAUWS, I think, which was you, Kalman, and I think Brendan.
Yep.
Am I wrong with
that?
And
Matt Forsyth was there.
Oh, Matt was there too?
Yeah.
And then I ended up inking you on a Superman comic.
Yeah, because I was in a Montreal studio at the time, and I was doing a comic, a Ma Kent comic.
Yeah.
That was to go with the Superman Returns movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, I needed inking help on it. And I think I wrote to Cameron. He was like, I'm too busy, but I'll ask one of the guys here.
Yeah.
And he gave it to you, and it was great.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I remember because I asked you what you're using, and you're like, oh, I'm using this pen. And I'm like, okay, so I actually grabbed the same tool to try to mimic whatever you were doing, But it's funny how all that stuff, and now it's no, just darken it or tighten it or whatever.
But I mean, tightening those pencils basically was an inking process. I was doing such tight pencil work that it was stupid to just go over it again.
I remember your pencils on the Teen Titans miniseries. And those were I believe you just penciled those, and then were you inked on that series?
Yeah, Serge inked them. He was inking the. He was inking the characters, but not the backgrounds. It was one of the
first time painted. That's right. Yeah. But your pencils were so tight, you could probably have just darkened them up and called it a day. And I think a lot of artists at that time were beginning to do that. I know, who was Travis Charest, I think, was doing that, and a few other guys where they were just playing with the levels. But it's interesting how the technology just changes your workflow. There's weird, because I don't know if you guys struggle with this, but there's that purist in me that was no, I have to ink it, I have to put it on paper, I have to do this. But then I think back to my teachers in Sheridan, and they're like, it's production art. It doesn't matter what process you get or what process you take to get to the final piece. Because it's the end result that matters, basically. I don't know. It's interesting because there's especially in an industry where people want to buy originals and people want to buy this or that, and to abandon that whole thing, it's I don't know. It's a weird thing. I have an art dealer, but literally I have not created physical art in probably 5 years, aside from a few key pieces like covers or whatnot. Everything's being digital.
Speaking of nerds, Joe, you're a nerd.
You're a nerd, Joe.
Joe's a big nerd. When's Joe gonna come on here?
He's working on Balto. I can't wait to see that.
Is he working on a Balto graphic novel?
Yeah,
I love it.
It's almost done.
I love it.
Did you see his latest Instagram post where he showed these pages in his sketchbook?
The old ones?
Oh, the old ones. Yeah,
I see all these Instagram posts. I'm like, I wonder. Here's every day. I'm like, here's what does Joe do for a living? Oh, he just draws fun dinosaurs and shit and sketchbooks.
I know.
and makes a living.
Oh man, that guy it's so good.
So jealous of Joe.
He's got good shit. He comes on here to make fun of us, but I know he wants that attention. He loves it.
Well, we'll have it. Hey, Joe, when are you going to come on? A week? 2 weeks from now? What's the
He
story?
said July to me, and that's
July. That's like a week from now, then.
But then he said 2022. I'm like,
oh my god.
Oh, we got a question from Pat Ingoldsby.
I spot a payaso butt.
Who's that nerd?
I think that's my lady. That's
hi, Steph. Hope you're doing well.
Hi, Steph.
Consider yourself a child of Joe Morris, Jack Taylor. Oh, this is a fellow Sheridan graduate.
Old Pat.
So the question disappeared. So I lost the names. I don't know if Rob can bring them back up. But Joe Morris, Jack Taylor, Gary Cook, and Stan Hughes were like kind of the pillars of my program at the time at Sheridan. And it's funny because I'm looking at the Jack Taylor was the interpretive guy, Gary Cook was the structural guy, Joe Morris was like the life drawing guy, and Stan Hughes was at the time was a program coordinator. It's like you guys were talking about the animation part of Sheridan way back in the 90s, and I took the illustration program. And the one thing I loved about it, all the names that Patrick has dropped were all professionals in the industry, and that's what I loved about going there. And I think the same was in the animation world, or should the program was like everybody who was there worked on something. They weren't just teachers; they were actually working professionals. And I remember after I graduated, I would often actually call up some of my former teachers and ask for insights on how to deal with a client or how to price things out or whatever it might be. But to actually answer Patrick's question, I was kind of like an amalgam of probably like a few of them because they all brought so much to the table and taught me so much. And you don't really realize until actually after you graduate and you kind of take all that information and it kind of soaks in. So yeah, no, great school, like for learning and giving me an opportunity to just have the career I have so far.
Yeah. Speaking of careers, Carl, was it always art, or was there something else that you're like, I'm going to be a dentist?
It was like, I don't think I knew for a long time. It was like, I think like I was like 15 or 16, and then it was just like blinders on, like trying to make comic books. Right. Like it was basically when I got excited when I saw all, like what was happening in like the late 80s, early 90s at Marvel, and I was like, this is what I want to do. And then I didn't even think about anything else. I just went for it. I just had such confidence about it. Not confidence in myself so much as just like, I know this is going to happen. Mm-hmm. It's I just have to work at it. And then I was just like, I had no backup, anything. I was just like, and I wasn't worried about it, weirdly. Like, it was just like, this is just what's going to happen. Yeah. I just have to work.
Well, you must have had then some kind of like confidence in your ability, because if you really, because you know what I mean? Like you felt like, yeah, I can do this. So I'm just going to go for it. Because if you were a shitty artist, you'd probably be like,
well, I was. I was shitty.
Were you ever?
Yes. You should go back and look at my. Actually, I posted a bunch of my early, like my sample pages. I put them on my website for like subscribers. Like I'm doing kind of like a Patreon thing. Yeah. And so I put up a whole post of just old art I did, and it's abysmal. Like it's awful stuff. But it's like, you could get work in like 1992. Like you could get work. There were so many small companies who popped up in like this like kind of like image boom, and they would just hire like any kid with like I need promise of talent. So like I got hired like at like 18 or something, and I just got paid to learn on the job, and it was terrible.
Yeah,
it was great for me, but it was terrible work.
I was watching a Comics Kayfabe episode. They were talking with Shelley Bond, and it was interesting to hear her talk. Pardon me, not Shelley Bond. Ann Nocenti, who was an editor for a while at Marvel. She did Typhoid Mary, Long Shot, a bunch of shit.
She wrote them too.
Right? Yeah, and I loved her stuff. And it was interesting to hear her talk, because she was like saying like, back when when I was reading this stuff, I was probably in high school, I'm guessing, maybe early. No, I was in high school. And she was saying how back then, like, they had so much content, but not enough artists. So, like, it was a great time for artists to just jump in, because there was so much work and they were short, and they just would grab artists left, right, and center and put them on different things. Whereas I feel now it's almost like maybe the opposite. Like, I feel like there's way more artists.
Do you remember inventory issues?
Oh yeah, like Marvel.
I was talking to Ben
Abernathy.
I was talking to him the other day, and he's like, "Do we still do inventory issues?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Do you? Because that would be awesome.
Yeah,
it'd be awesome to just work on that. Like a fun story, like a one-off story, and like it shows up sometime later."
Because I read the Untold Marvel biography, and they talked about the inventory issues, that they would just get basically talent to like create whatever, and it would just be shelved. And then they had this series, Marvel Fanfare, where they would often use a lot of these inventory things. So they had so big. I think that series, I might have my history wrong, but that series was created almost because they had so much inventory content sitting around that they were like, we need to publish this because it's never going to see the light of day. So like it would be amazing, but I think that's part of the past anyways. Like, but I used to love, that was one of my favorite series growing up, because you would see different artists kind of testing their abilities. And
Marvel Comics Presents was kind of like that. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah.
Well, there was Marvel Fanfare, which precedes, but yeah, then there was Marvel Comics Presents as well, which but that one I found had a lot more, had bigger names like John Buscema, Kevin Nolan on it, and different things. But I found
where I first saw Jay Lee's artwork.
Oh man, Jay Lee.
He did a short story in Marvel Comics. I think it was a Beast story, and then he got on Namor.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
He also did Wildcats too.
He did Wildcats afterwards. Yeah, he was fucking awesome.
I couldn't believe that guy's shit when I saw it. I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And
that guy was awesome. I remember.
Funny enough, the Vancouver show I went to, the only one I've ever been to, a couple of years back. Kevin, of course, got me in there, which is great. I love that guy. And he, but one of the things when you get a table at a show is always like, "Oh, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you help out with this? Maybe, like a panel or this."
Yeah, for sure.
And so I offered to do like a live draw, because I was like, yeah, whatever. I'm trying to like challenge myself. And guess who the fuck the other guy was? Jay Lee.
I can top that. That happened to me one year. I was sitting around, and like one of the organizers was like, "Do you want to do a live draw? We need someone to do a live draw." And I was like, "Okay." And it was fucking Frank Quitely.
Oh my god!
So I had to sit there and draw with Frank Quitely.
Nice.
Who I worshipped. And it turns out, it was awesome, because we kind of just struck up a friendship after that.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I didn't strike up a friendship, but it was a great experience. And actually afterwards, like it was pretty cool, because he actually ended up using some of my my art stuff that I brought, which I was like, "Oh my god, Jay Lee's using my eraser."
It's funny.
It's just really cool. But hey, so we're kind of coming down to the last 5 minutes here. And I'd just like to kind of try and promote Karl as much as possible. I know he gives everything away for free, but like still want to send people links to stuff where they can see all your stuff, Karl. Like besides the Lethal Comics and what you, Andy, and Carrie are doing. But.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have in the body of the episode below, we have all the links to Karl's website, so people can subscribe. to his content, his personal Patreon, if you will. And then we have a link at the end of this episode to his Kickstarter. But yeah, check out his Kickstarter. Check out Andy B's Kickstarter for the Lethal Comics team, which just launched today as well for Mother Trucker number 2. And yeah, so all the links will be available for everybody who wants to explore and support these guys. They're amazing.
Yeah.
And check out Death Transit Tanager, which is an amazing comic. I know it's for free, but pay the few dollars you can and support these great guys who are giving out their content.
Is this all on karlkerschl.com then?
Yeah, everything's at karlkerschl.com. Yeah. So you can, the Death Transit Tanager stuff is all free online, as Ramón said. It's read for free, please. If you want to get pages as they come out, then you can subscribe. There's like a monthly subscription. It's like a pay what you want, and you'll get access to a bunch of locked posts, like a lot of process videos and fun stuff like that, behind the scenes stuff. I did like behind the scenes process stuff of like the entire Batman black and white story I did. All the script and roughs and pencils and various stages that are posted up there.
Who wrote that, by the way?
I did.
Oh shit! Oh, I didn't know that. Oh,
yeah,
fuck.
It was all me on that one.
Oh fuck! I have to check that out.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's a way to support it. So you can get the pages as they come out with a subscription, or if you want to just, I think the PDF, the ebook is like $3.99 or something like that for 20 pages of a new comic.
Well worth it.
What else? Yeah, the Kickstarter is newbook.abominable.cc. I got 15 days left of that, so that's super exciting. Andy's thing just launched, Mother Trucker, The Cutoff, launched today. That's at newbook.mothertrucker.ca. And Carrie's thing, which we haven't talked about through Lethal Comics, is awesome. And I can't say anything about it, but it's supposed
we have to get him on here. He's got to answer our emails.
Yeah, he didn't answer the email, that jerk.
He's jerk. He doesn't understand technology.
I can't say much.
I mean, people say that, but he really doesn't.
No, I remember teaching him how to use Photoshop at one point in the studio. I was like, wow. But yeah, God bless that guy. I love that guy so much.
He's just painting every day in the studio, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh man,
he's just painting all these like gouache and acrylic pieces, and I'm like, oh.
He came to that raid retreat. I think two back or three back.
Yeah, two back. Yeah.
Man, it was just seeing him like live draw, and I'm just like, son of a bitch. It's just
that guy's a super talent.
He's a legend. Like when his Conan stuff was coming out, I think I was in the studio with you guys at the time.
Yeah.
And it's still amazing. It's still incredible work. Yeah. So I just watch in awe as he draws stuff.
You guys got something really cool going on there with Lethal. I'm pretty excited to see it's so exciting to see all you guys just get your Kickstarters out, more art that we can kind of be part of. Mm-hmm. Pretty damn great.
Yeah, but anyway, thanks for having me on. It was fun to just shoot the shit with you guys.
It was awesome, man.
What do we got?
It made me draw. I'm halfway through a panel here, so that's good.
We had the Pat saying he was drawing along. Like the appreciate old yarning. That's an old man talk, I guess. Sam, great. Mama Deadhead, great to see you. Oh, Joe Vereen, he'll get his Balto done one day. Steph, good seeing you. Who else we got on here? Jay,
also, Carl, I'll have your Abominable piece for you. I'm not sure if you want to use it. But
oh, sweet. Yeah, I've been looking up. Yes.
I'm gonna watercolor this up, so it'll be an original.
Yeah, man,
you want to sell the original? I can put it up there as an add-on.
Oh, yeah, it'll be like an original piece. I feel like digital is kind of like my pencils, and then if I can do a nice watercolor for you for the campaign, if it does anything.
Holy cow, that's amazing.
Yeah,
I'm definitely gonna work on something. I've just been busting my butt on this thing.
I don't want to hear this.
One day.
I've been listening to this for 2 weeks.
Sorry, Carl. But I saw the other alternate covers for the Mother Trucker. Andy sent me all that. I was like floored, going, "Oh, I'm just gonna delete what I'm doing." But they look fantastic.
Yeah, he kept sending me something. I was like, "Oh my god!"
Oh, no, man, I love the variety he has for this time around. It's great.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. How did so? What's everyone's drawings? They just ended up kind of where they're at, eh?
What?
We did a little show and tell. What'd you work on then? Oh, you guys already did that. Never mind. I can tell you. I can show you mine. It's just to explore the characters a bit more. And I took this. My camera's been screwing up all night. I've been trying to take this kind of idea and expanded it with this wild creature character. There it goes.
Cool,
bye.
Man. Oh, bye. There we go. It's over.
You know what? I don't even. I'm turning it off. Screw this camera. Anyway, but yeah, that was man. The 2 hours go so quick.
Yeah,
I know.
It was really nice. Nice. First of all, great seeing you and Carl, man.
Yeah,
I always love talking with you, man. Like it's so. I can't wait till we're in person again. But we have such a long history, funny enough, with the friends and the people we knew, and so it's great to see your face, man. So.
Yeah, I miss you guys. It's like we fall right back into old
habits,
old routines. It's like a comedy act.
Yeah.
And when I do an Arden Kickstarter, you're totally doing a cover, right?
Absolutely. I'm gonna start it right now. It's coming out with Balto.
You'll be
done. Nice. I like that. Well, hey,
man, oh man.
But I want to thank everybody that came along on this 2-hour ride. Everyone in the chat,
and big thanks to Mama Deadhead, who's been here every episode.
Yeah, kick ass.
Thank you so much for the support. It's very awesome.
And obviously, we can't do this without Rob behind the scenes.
Yeah, Mr. Kugler is taking care of all the magic behind the scenes.
He had to deal with my camera the whole show, which was going on. So. Sheldon sent me a message, stop looking at your phone. I'm like, dude, I'm a celebrity now. This is what part of things I do, right? So it's my thing, not knowing tech. But anyway, so I think that's it.
Yeah. All right, let's call it.
All right. Carl, hang around after the credits.
Good night, everybody.
We'll a bit.
Nice. That's fantastic.